Greetings and welcome to another video. It's Sunday, 13th of August 2023, and this afternoon I've been exploring Granville Park and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a fantastic afternoon, to be honest with you. I'm glad I made the effort coming here. So yeah, I've already done some exploring and a couple of videos going down two really interesting paths around here, two beautiful paths. And right now, the purpose of this video is to focus on a certain detail, a certain point of the park where you get to learn about some of the sights and features you might find while exploring the park. So that's what I want to do in this video. So with that in mind, let's carry on and have a look at what I want to have a look at today. So yeah, as you can see, where I'm standing is this amazing wood carving sculpture of a gorgeous fox. A lot of talent and skill has gone into this, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, a lot of respect to the artist who made this. So that's just fantastic. And from here, as you can see just there, this staircase is one of the paths you can explore a section of Granville Park. And up this staircase was where I went to make one of my videos this afternoon, and it's absolutely amazing up there. Some gorgeous views, absolutely peaceful, absolutely beautiful up that staircase. So yeah, I'm glad I went up that way. And of course, at the other end of a field you can find at the top of this staircase is another staircase which connects you down to the other end of this path here. And this path I explored in my other video this afternoon, and it was just a beautiful walk, an absolutely peaceful, enjoyable walk. And I found something down here which is really worth exploring, and learned something of local I learned something of a local history around here as well. And at the other end of this path there's another gateway, beyond which there's a really interesting path to explore, which, to be honest, I'll come back on another occasion to explore properly. So I'm looking forward to getting that sorted. That's going to be fun. So yeah, but in the meantime, there's, like I said, something else I want to have a look at. So let's carry on with that. Welcome to Granville Country Park. And what I want to focus on in this video is the signpost on the left, where we learn about everything you might find here in Granville Country Park. So yeah. Granville Local Nature Reserve is one of the largest open green spaces in Telford, covering an area of 61.4 hectares. The local nature reserve is formed of copses, heaths, grasslands, pools, scrubs, wet woodlands, oak-capped mounts, and many species of wildlife. The rugged landscape of Granville is a result of over 200 years of industrial upheaval. Coal mines, canals, railways and blast furnaces nearly eliminated the previous agricultural landscape, bar a few very important exceptions. The pit mounds, cuttings, waterways and some very impressive brick and stonework ruins are all that is left of the industry of people like the Dukes of Sutherland and the men and women who worked for their Lilleshall company. The local Nature Reserve is owned by Telford Council, who work in partnership with the Shropshire Wildlife Trust and Friends of Granville to care for the reserve for the benefit of its wildlife and to promote public enjoyment of the reserve. And as you can see, we've got a map of Granville Park, which on one end is all the way up here in Muxton and Muxton Marsh. That I think it was like 2, maybe 3 years ago I did a video in Muxton Marsh, 2 or 3 of them in fact, and one of those videos was exploring the Granville Heritage Trail around this area somewhere. So if you're interested in the videos I made around Muxton Marsh, then they're on my YouTube channel. Just if you go far back to find them, go back far enough to find them. And other places to explore include Wax Hill Meadow. In fact, this is where I'm standing at the moment, here on the map. And my 2 videos I made this afternoon was, on one hand, exploring down to, basically I think it was here, and then coming up these steps and all the way around here. So this is where I've explored today at least, and in future videos it's all over here I wish to explore. So we'll see how that pans out. On top of that, we've got an entire section over here, including the Horseshoe and the Grange Colliery. So that'll be good coming round all here at some point. And on the map there's a key code explaining what part of each section of the map exactly means. So yeah, interesting stuff. So if we have a look over here, we've got the Donnington Wood Tub Canal Basin. Built by Earl Gower in 1768, the Donnington Wood Tub Boat Canal was one of the earliest canals in Britain. It ran 5.5 miles from the coal mines at Donnington Wood to a coal wharf at Pave Lane, where surplus coal was sold. The branch, you see, was used by horse-drawn tugboats to transport raw materials in and smelted iron out of the large furnaces. Other branches served the limestone quarries at Lilleshall. In 1822, the Lilleshall Company built 2 furnaces here to supplement those it had at Donnington Wood. A further furnace was added in 1846 and 2 more in 1859, although it appears that the last 2 were hardly used due to perhaps to insufficient power in the blowing apparatus. The furnaces had an international reputation for the quality of iron produced and continued until 1888 when they were blown out for economic reasons. In the crevices of the remaining stonework, Buddleia has taken root, feeding peacock and small turtle-shell butterflies. The pining birch and sallows grow easily across the tumbled discarded stone of the engine platforms, and wild strawberry is found in succulent carpets when the light allows. In the hollow chamber of the last loading ramp, bats roost, clinging high up away from interference in this now calm corner of the reserve. Stables and office. Built originally to store blasting powder used in nearby mines, this structure later formed the basement of the ironworks office at large furnaces and was used as stabling for those office workers who could afford to travel to work on horseback. Later, the office was converted to a house and extended to the east when a kitchen was added. The house was finally demolished in the 1960s. The remains of a brick privy stands in front of the outgrown thorns of a hedge, and nearby a pear tree and its bitter fruit are a last living reminder of the gardens that would have been cultivated by the workers who lived in walking distance of their daily employ. Originally called the Albert and Alexandra, the pit was sunk in 1864, the Grange Colliery, and to exploit the deep coal seams east of the region's fault line, which had given access to surface coal in earlier bell pits. It continued in production until 1951, when it was linked underground with the Granville system, sunk in 1860. Thereafter, it was just used for pumping water out and ventilating the latter. It was closed in 1979 when the Granville Colliery ceased operation. A series of small pit mounds can be climbed at the southern end of the reserve, each topped with clumps of heather, bare soil pockmarked in early summer with tunnels of the tawny mining bee, and yellow-flowered European gorse scrub of the lower slopes is full of bird song during the breeding season. Barnyard Colliery. Barnyard Colliery took its name from the field name in which it was located. It probably started as a chartermaster pit around 1837 as a very small operation. The surviving structure was probably the winding house. An inclined plane ran down the mineral railway and, possibly earlier, to the canal. A later branch of the mineral railway ran up the colliery via another route. By 1880, the colliery was in disuse. Today, hawthorn scrub and wildflower studded grassland covers the top of the pit mound. The local name for the barnyard pit mound is Top of the World, and on a clear day, excellent views can be had of the Wrekin Hill and off over the North Shropshire Plain. That's where I was in my one video up there, and I could see the Wrekin Hill from where I was standing. But you'll have to check that video out to see what I was talking about. Really, really interesting stuff, to be honest here. Freehold Colliery. The Freehold pit was probably sunk around 1860. It was a relatively small operation, which is unlikely to have made a substantial profit due to high production costs being twice those of Muxton Bridge, according to a report in 1899. The mine was closed after flooding in 1928. The mound is wooded with oak, birch and sallow. Stumps of brick engine mountings remain hidden, and patches of willow herb give away the locations of the main buildings. Muxton Bridge Colliery Pump House Platform. The beam engine, situated here, pumped water drained from the Waxhill Barracks and Barnyard collieries, as well as Muxton Bridge Colliery itself, and discharged it into the nearby Donington Wood Tub Boat Canal at a rate of 9,350 gallons per hour. It was thought that the engine could have been unhoused, as the foundations which remain show no signs of a covering structure. Hazel, sallow and ivy vie to obscure the ruined remains low down. Scurrying blackbirds enjoy the dense cover, and speckled wood butterflies compete for the sunlit glades. Muxton Bridge Colliery Winding House. The Muxton Bridge pit was opened in 1840 and was one of the early deep mines sunk by the Lilleshall Company. The winding house was constructed in 1884 and once contained two high-pressure steam engines for winding the paired shafts, the tops of which you have seen in the picnic area. In operation, it lay directly adjacent to the canal and later the mineral railway, where materials and product could be easily shipped in and out. A veteran oak with rangy limbs stands guard over the proud remains of the winding house. This tree would have been a young sapling when the winding house was built. Now it is set as a silent witness of the dramatic changes that characterise the history of Granville. The Wax Hill, Colliery and Meadow. Amongst the trees are the remains of a Methodist chapel associated with Wax Hill Colliery Barracks, which housed the colliery workers. The colliery itself and the barracks are now demolished and no visible trace remains. The colliery started life as a chartermaster pit around 1819. The Lilleshall Company then sank further shafts around 1828 and managed them directly. The colliery was closed down around 1899 when a recommendation for increased production and better transport arrangements were apparently not implemented. The barracks, a single-storey block of cottages set in 3 rows, was built next to the canal in 1804, were occupied until the 1930s, despite part demolition starting around 1900. The 1851 census lists 27 distinct families, a total population of 153. Professions included coal miner, pit sinker, labourer, and 1 engineer. Wax Hill, as well as bearing the foundations of this long-gone community, was also a junction on the railway network, which include a steep incline, now a bridleway. Common spotted orchids, eyebright and knapweed grow in profusion on an open grassland, whilst scrubby woodland does its best to fill in the gaps. The dinghy skipper butterfly has been found on the banks here, its larva food plant being bird's foot trefoil. Green hair-streak butterflies are a Granville speciality, the UK's only green butterfly. And finally, the Muxton Marsh SSSI, which, as I've mentioned already, I did a video at a couple of years ago. The Type map of 1840 shows what was... I'll say that again. The Type map of 1840 shows that what is now Muxton Marsh was then called Marsh Meadow Leasowes. I don't know if I've said that correctly. Leasowes. But yeah, the general shape of the field has been relatively unchanged despite the bulk of the freehold colliery pit mound directly to the east. The brook that feeds the marsh teems with aquatic life, freshwater shrimp, great diving beetles, minnows, frogs and caddisfly larvae. The grassland becomes progressively drier going west and consequently contains a considerable array of plants, so much so that it has become a site of special scientific interest. Soft and hard rush, remote and hairy sedge hemp, agrimony, meadow vetchling, marsh thistle, common spotted and southern marsh orchid, to name a few. Those are obviously some of the flowers and other plant life that can be found at Muxton Marsh. The water levels are carefully monitored. So yeah, the Muxton Marsh SSSI of the map is this area here. And like I said, I think it was like a couple of years ago. Those were my first videos anywhere near Granville Park, especially the Granville Heritage Trail. There's a track around here somewhere which I made a video about. So yeah, very, very good time situation. Impressive stuff. And as I said in my other two videos today, this signpost that I'm looking at right now, as we've just gone over, has a lot of information on it about Granville Country Park, and that's why I wanted to make a specific dedicated video like I've done now about it. A lot of interesting information here, and a lot of history, a lot of very interesting history and heritage going on right at this place, going back for centuries. Amazing stuff. So with all that now sorted and looked at and explored, I'm going to finish this video right here. Thank you everyone for taking the time to watch my video this afternoon. In fact, thank you for everyone taking the time to watch all 3 videos I've made today exploring Granville Country Park. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, on that note, finish this video here. Take care of yourselves, be safe, have a really good day today, have a good week this week coming up, and I'll see you all soon in the next video. Take care and goodbye.